Hi, my name's Tom, and today I'll be teaching the circular flow of income model in economics. So this is really one of the most fundamental models of economic theory because it demonstrates how income flows can go between different sectors of the economy. And this will become really useful in future weeks in helping you map out how different economic sectors and how different economic indicators such as inflation and the balance of payments work and relate to each other, because they're all included here in this model. So the purpose of this model is describing flows of income and expenditure between different sectors of the economy. We've got the definition up here for you. And from these flows, we can measure GDP, which is the total value of all goods and services produced in an economy during a particular time period. So that's one of the uses of this model, is measuring everything that an economy has produced in a particular year or a particular quarter. So let's start out by imagining the most basic kind of economy, composed of only households and firms, so just two economic agents here. Households are people like you and me, it's families, it's anyone who's consuming goods and services. So what households do is they supply the factors of production, for example labor, to firms, and in exchange they get their factor rewards, our four factor rewards here: rent, wages, interest and profit. And they spend this disposable income on goods and services and receive those goods and services in return. So for example, now I say to my student, just take a moment to imagine any kind of business. So for example, a lemonade stand, something as simple as that. Imagine what kind of goods and services is it producing? Well, it's producing lemonade and it's receiving spending from consumers on that good. And what kind of factor rewards is it giving out? Well, potentially wages if they've got any workers, potentially profit to the owner, that kind of thing. Now, this is really the core of the economy, so it's the basic two components. And you can see by how simply measuring consumer spending on the product of the firm, you've measured the total value of everything produced in the economy. So everything produced, its value can be calculated simply by looking at consumer spending from households. So the flows are all equal in this theory. This equals this. So now let's make things a bit more complicated by adding in another. Sorry, my eraser tool wasn't working there. So now we're going to add in the financial sector here, which can include things like banks or financial institutions, investment funds, that kind of thing. So households are giving money to the financial sector in the form of savings, and then financial sector transfers these to firms in the form of investment. That's investment in real assets, for example, spending on research and development, or spending on capital, investment in capital, new machinery, that kind of thing. So when households save their income, this represents money leaving the economy. Of course, it hasn't actually left, but for our purposes in this model, it has. It's been taken out of the core of the economy, that core circular flow. And we call this a leakage when it leaves the economy. But then when it comes back in the form of investment, it has re-entered the economy, and we call this an injection. So we've got two things. We've got leakages and injections, one where money income is leaving the economy and one where it's re-entering the economy. At this point, we can add another sector, and this is the government. So the principle here is the same as the financial sector. Income leaves the economy in the form of government taxation, for example, from income tax, and it re-enters the economy in the form of government spending. And that can be on anything from subsidies to public spending on institutions such as the NHS, to other grants such as the furlough scheme, which is ongoing currently. Again, we have one leakage, that's taxation, tax, and one injection, that's government spending. So far our leakages are savings and tax, and our injections are investment and government spending. And now finally, let's open up our economy to one more economic agent, which is the rest of the world. So let me just move that up here. So firstly, we have spending on imports. That represents another leakage because people in our economy are buying foreign goods from overseas. They're sending money to other countries. Exports, on the other hand, are an injection since we're receiving foreign income for our goods and services. So spending on imports represents money leaving our economy, leaving the circular flow, and spending on exports from foreign countries on our goods, that represents money coming into our economy. So that's an injection. So there we have it. We have 5 key sectors. We have households, firms, the financial sector, the government, and the rest of the world. And then we have 3 leakages: savings, tax, and spending on imports. And 3 injections: investment, government spending, and spending on exports. Now, the key flows to remember here are those 3 leakages and injections. The reason we focus on these leakages and injections are because they represent the points where income leaves and enters the economy. And when injections exceed leakages, the value of income in the economy increases, so economic growth occurs. That might be, for example, because spending on exports is higher than import spending. So we're exporting a higher value of goods than we are importing, which means more money is entering the economy, there's a trade surplus, there's possible inflation. We'll learn more about these indicators later, but that's just to give you an idea of why these are important, because these represent the point where income can either increase in the economy or decrease. At this point, I may ask my student to do some kind of recap exercise, like, for example, drawing this model from memory, but we'll skip over that for now. With the complete model, we can now calculate GDP by adding up all forms of expenditure on goods and services. So that's a measure of what has been produced, remember from earlier. So we have letters to denote these different kinds of flows in the circular flow model. We have consumer spending from households, which is C, plus I, which is investment from the financial sector. So that one's simple enough to remember, I for investment. Then we have G, which is government spending. So we've got, so far, consumption, government spending, and investment are the 3 areas in which income is being given to firms. The final one comes from the rest of the world, and it's a little bit more complicated because it's X minus M. X stands for exports. That's the value of the total value of our exports of goods that we have sold to other countries, minus M, which is the total value of imported goods which we have bought. The reason we do X minus M is because we want to find the total value of money that has been either gained or lost through trade with other countries. So it's C plus I plus G plus X minus M. That will give us the total value of all goods and services produced in the economy. Everything made by firms, that's all the spending that goes on in this economy. That will also give us aggregate demand, if you remember that. So aggregate demand will equal GDP in this scenario. So let's have a look at some MCQs, some multiple choice questions, working through each answer together and discussing why they're wrong or right. So under the circular flow of income model, the level of income will increase if A, total leakages plus total injections equals 0, total leakages exceed total injections, total leakages and total injections are equal, and total injections exceed total leakages. So for the first option, if total leakages plus total injections equaled 0, well, that wouldn't be possible because they both have to have positive values. You know, we have some money leaving the economy and some money entering, but those are both positive values. Total leakages exceeding total injections, that represents more money leaving the economy than going into it. So in that scenario, the level of income has decreased. Total leakages and total injections are equal. In this scenario, the level of income in the economy will stay the same. Nothing has changed. The final answer, D, total injections exceed total leakages. That represents money coming into the economy. More money has come in than has gone out. So that means the level of income will increase in the economy. So I have some more multiple choice questions here, though I think we're running out of time now. I would let my student lead the rest of these, just to test their knowledge and to explain with them, to go through each answer, discussing why they're right or wrong, checking their understanding. And over here I have some extension material, just some questions for the student to think about, to go beyond the syllabus material and to get them thinking about what they learned in the lesson. But that basically wraps it up for this lesson. I hope it helped demonstrate my tutoring methods. Goodbye for now.